How's it going, folks? I'm Matthew. This is Lemora's Cards, and today we're doing a little bit of a hybrid type video. I have a behind the scenes sort of snippet of a conversation Eric and I had while recording the last episode of the podcast. So if you don't usually watch the podcast episodes, this will be kind of like a little bit of a sample of what those usually are like. And here we're discussing sort of two decks that are going at it, and mainly from the perspective of like, is Kinnan actually better than Blue Farm? Because Tymna Kraum's kind of the deck to beat, it feels like, but there is definitely some arguments for Kinnan to be in that top spot. So we're kind of discussing that today. If you enjoy this video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing. Let me know down below what you like about it. And as always, thank you to my amazing patrons over on Patreon. And with all that being said, let's hop into it. This video is brought to you by a new sponsor of the channel. And I've been kind of hesitant to just work with any brand, but Into the AM reached out to me and said, hey, we believe in our product. We're going to send you some of it. If you like it, tell your viewers about it. Tell them what you like. Say it how you want to. And they sent me this UFO shirt, which I think is really sick, especially if you're a very long time viewer of the channel. You know I'm a very big horror fan, as well as this really sick Viking shirt that hopefully doesn't blend into my blue screen too much. They are exactly as advertised. They are super comfortable. These are definitely the most comfortable t-shirts I have. You can use my link in the description and use promo code Lemora for 10% off. It does a lot to support the channel without you having to actually, do anything. You just get cool stuff and then it helps the channel out. Go check them out down below. So I want to talk about this tweet that kind of blew up that we had both seen, that you might have saw from Mike Sad, a member of Playing with Power. And I'll put the tweet on screen here, but reading it briefly here. Kinnan and cEDH is the easiest deck to play in the format, powerful in all stages of the game, rewarding for players that like politics, extremely consistent in gameplay and mana. Someone tell me how this isn't just the best deck. Do we disagree with any of these? And then if they're true, is it the best? Does that make it the best deck? Now there's some debate. People did not like it being called the easiest deck because some people think that statement inherently discredits their, whatever they might do with the list. Like if it's a deck they play, don't call my deck easy. I've played a decent amount of Kinnan. I've played it because it was easy. And it's well positioned. I don't think of that as inherently negative because when I say Kinnan is the easiest deck in the format, what I'm not saying is the people who play it are getting carried by it. Those are different statements. Saying Wounded or Ian can only win with or top with Kinnan. One, they do it with other decks. So like I can't be meaning that in a really sincere way. And then two, there's no deck that's so good it will carry anybody. We all have openers and games that we get carried, right? Everybody does because it's a super high variance format. There's no deck good enough that I know of that will just carry anybody to doing well. And if there was, statistically, I guess it's Blue Farm because it has the highest conversion rate. Even though I think that is probably a more difficult deck to play because you're pivoting between more game plans, things like that. It is definitely powerful in all stages of the game. We talked about that today. I guess it's rewarding for players that like politics. That one is maybe the weirder statement here. I don't know that Kinnan inherently makes you politic harder than other decks. The most successful Kinnan pilots seem to not go for a very fast game plan. So I guess any slower deck, I think inherently you get more out of politics. I don't know about that. And also that has nothing to do with the quality of the deck. Extremely consistent in gameplay and mana. Yeah, 100% true. That's definitely true. But why isn't Kinnan the best deck? Or is it? Do you think it is the best deck right now? Do you think it's positioned the best right now? Because statistically, it's not. It's not the best deck right now. I mean, we've gone over it. It's been Blue Farm every time. Our last update, it was Blue Farm by the most it's ever been.
We'll see, obviously the quarterly review doesn't determine anything per se, but it does give you an indication in which the format's trending. And the format is still just trending Blue Farm Kinnan. You know what I mean? Spoiler alert, Najeela actually, I don't know how this weekend will affect it, but Najeela was actually doing very well. Yeah, it had like a 34% conversion rate. It's had a little bit of a spiky spike, but that's tough because Kinnan's got what? So Dargo Thras won yesterday, correct, for Mox Masters?
Yes.
Yeah, so neither of those decks won in Star City games because, those deck lists are like finding buried treasure. You got to search long and hard for it.
Yeah, that was the Malcolm Bile that won that one.
Yeah, Malcolm Bile. Okay, so just in regards to TNK and Kinnan.
Yeah, neither of those decks topped that event. Or top four. Yeah. Nobody knows what top 16, but neither of them top four.
So I think just this year, it looks like I think Kinnan's got 3 big wins from 64 plus. TNK has 3 total wins. They have 2 here and then 1 in Japan in their big tournament. So I don't know which one's the better deck, but based on the format in which the format is adjusting to, it's kind of hard not to say that Kinnan's arguably the best deck in the format. And really, it's pretty challenging because it has the most coherent strategy.
It like wants you to build it for the way that people are playing right now. By default, you almost like you can't mess it up.
Right. Like Blue Farm's a good stuff deck. Like Blue Farm doesn't have things that typically like layer on top of each other. You know, they have like one card combos like Intuition, and they have like an Ad Nauseam card. Their cards don't feed into each other. They have like good card here, Bowmaster, good card here, Opposition Agent, good card here, Dockside Extortionist. Like there's not a combo in which the deck is designed because obviously that's a function of its commanders being draw engines, not outlets. So that skews how the deck's built. While Kinnan is obviously an outlet,
also an enabler.
Enabler and the most insane mana battery ever printed. Because people jokingly, oh, Dockside warps the format. Have you ever seen Kinnan play? Like it warps the deck, you know? Like it warps its deck. I've never seen a Springleaf Drum be so powerful. Because we jokingly say that Mox Amber's insane and Rogsai. Yeah, Mox Amber and Kinnan's nuts. Like, yeah. Like it's so good in
Mox Amber. That deck will have you like complaining about the most like first world problems ever. Where you're just like, oh man, I wish I could tap for both colors for this Mox Amber. It's just like you're already playing a Mox, a double Mox of blue or green. Like,
I only have infinite colorless mana right now. Like when I untap, I mean, I guess I got it, but
it's pretty crazy. You'll hear people, Kinnan players, you're like they're politicking, and it's like, guys, I don't have the win. I just have infinite colorless mana. Just no need to fight over this basalt. Just like, you know, I only got one activation. Just come on, guy. I promise. I don't have the, you know, the Thrasios in hand or whatever. Like, I don't have it.
In reality, they're just like got the crop rot for the treasure vault, or they have like a ballista.
Or even then, it's like, no, I'm not gonna let you have infinite mana. What are you talking about? I'm not gonna let anybody here at this table have infinite mana if I can help it.
Yeah, as much as possible. But yeah, I think that's a fair assumption. I think they're neck and neck. Your question about the conversion rate, is it like people are just like tons of people are playing Kinnan right now and they're not obviously not converting outside of the more elite level players?
One issue it had in the last update, and I think maybe the one before a bit, was that it was struggling to convert to actual top 4s and wins, where it was like top 16ing a lot. And then top 4s, it would like fall off a bit. And then wins, it actually had really fallen off. It maybe had 1 win in the last update. And it was like lower than, there's like decks like Tevish Kraum that were like multiple wins with like, that were really ahead. But it has had good conversion. I think it's been, now it's kind of stuck at 2 under TNK for top 16s at least. So it is performing well. It's just like a little bit lower than TNK, which maybe does make you kind of question like the easier part, but TNK is able to assemble wins so much easier. Like you can spike early wins. I think that's one strength of those piles is just being able to like, boom, I have a win. Turn 2, whatever, have the thing, or even just turn 3 and getting to hide behind the like abolishers and stuff. I don't think another deck is in the argument. Like Sisei has been third. It doesn't at all come to my mind that Sisei is actually secretly the best deck.
Yeah. It's firmly those two. And if you really, really look at like, obviously like Comedian's not a great example because Comedian can like do well with a ham sandwich. And then you've got people like Max Wounded that plays Kinnan, but also can top with Obnixilis, you know? So, and then you have Freedom, who obviously was champion Dargo Thrasios, switched to Blue Farm, got that win with Dargo Thras, switching back to it. But again, these players are going to typically probably do well with any deck that they play, especially with the level and commitment in which they play at. It's going to be pretty fine-tuned. So with that being said, now we need to look at the greater populace. And when it's not in the hands of very, very skilled player, that's where I do think that like 60 card formats kind of get that. You get to kind of see like how good certain decks are. If you had to flip a coin right now, I would say either or. I think very much it depends on your play style and what you adhere to. I know Blue Farm's powerful. I've literally been the champion of talking about how good Blue Farm is, and I think it's the best deck all of last year. I don't enjoy playing Blue Farm at all. 0-0. The only games that I enjoy it are the games where actually in the game early with a Grand Abolisher and a Dockside loop. Well, guess what? I'll just play Dockside and do that in another deck. So it's not my play style. I don't really like it. So Kinnan, I would enjoy Kinnan way more because Kinnan kind of does the combo-y turbo thing, picking your spots and then it obviously has different leverage points. Like, man, like Seaborn Muse is kind of, people forget that that card is a card.
It's
The
very
whole
good.
notion that green is bad is just like, I think that's so overplayed now and reality, and it's like kind of hard to say green's bad when Kinnan just keeps beating people up. So
In terms of like the deck I want to play, I think if I'm feeling my absolute best, I'm bringing TNK probably still because of just like you have so many options and how you navigate a game. If I want a little bit of an easier time, I'd probably just play Kinnan and just be like, sometimes I'm just gonna have the 8 mana on to like turn 2. You know, like you just have it sometimes. The deck is just made to do that thing. Overall, again, like going with the stats, it seems like TNK is a little bit better, but I would not be surprised if we have an update where Kinnan's on top at some point. At least with like its actual number, maybe not in terms of popularity. That could happen too, but at least with like its actual conversions over Blue Farm, I could definitely see that.
as long as you got players like, Ori, Jorman playing like Blue Farm, they're always going to be
And we
up
had
there. But
Jorman. Jorman played Kinnan, right?
like Kinnan, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, flexible player, two
Yep.
flexible good decks. Kind of hard to like pick out like your results based on that. Obviously, it's a super small sample size.
But all right, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, let us know down below what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like for us to talk about next time. Go play cEDH. Have a good one, everybody.